Hello and welcome back. I'm Diana. If you're new here, welcome. Let's get into today's topic. Today I wanted to share with you how I overcame anger. And this is something that I struggled with for many years, probably over a decade. And it was the hardest thing in my life to get rid of. Honestly, well, it was one of the hardest things in my life to get rid of. So let me kind of walk you through a little bit on this bit of a journey. It's just a tiny bit of how I'm going to explain it because it's all sort of in a memory. I kind of wrote down some notes, but who knows how well I'll stick to the notes. But anyways, so since basically, I guess since I was younger, I was told that I had sort of like this kind of like greedy sense to me. I loved food and I still love food, but my problem with food was sharing. No matter what I had, if I was eating it, I did not want to share it with anyone. So not being able to share it with somebody who wants some was a little bit frustrating, I guess, on others, but more so I would get very upset and angry that somebody wanted to eat some of my food. It sounds basic and it sounds like, oh yeah, okay, so what's wrong with that? Well, the problem is that I carried that with me for a long time, and into my growing ages and years, that is a habit that I developed. I never wanted to share, and anytime somebody wanted some of my food, I just would get so angry. So I was like, that's crazy. But then it spiraled into other things. Now whenever somebody's doing something small or something large, I would get so angry. I am the kind of person that you would call type A personality. I have rules set up in my head. Okay, there are these rules that either I used to have that were planted on me, that were made rules by others for me, and I carry on to those rules, or I developed these rules. But there are rules that should be followed, in my opinion, and so if I've made up these rules, I assumed that people will follow them. And so not everybody likes following rules, right? A lot of people will just go the opposite side, or they'll do something slightly different and so forth. But because I have this very strict mentality, which I've calmed down on, trust me, but that actually helped to build up this anger. And so anytime somebody would do something the opposite of what the rule was, I would get angry. Anytime somebody did something different from what was supposed to be done, even though it was not my rule, I would get angry. If this was not taken care of, I would get angry. And as I grew into this anger and started developing this behavior in terms of making it easier for me to just get angry over everything, I built grudges. I started building grudges around people, especially people that I knew, because these are people that were very close to me. So I automatically assumed, because you understood how things are supposed to be, you understood XYZ, you would be able to do something properly. But they would never do something properly, and I would just get so angry with them for weeks, I'm telling you. And my tone would just be constantly the kind that you don't want to be around. And so these people are living their best happy lives, not worried about me at all. And yet I was constantly worried about them, worried about what they're doing, worried about what they're not doing right. I had so much anger in me that I started to feel it in my throat. It started to build in my throat. Literally, every time I would see that person or those people, it would just build up right here. And it felt as if I was actually eating something that was stuck. And I'm not sure where you're feeling your anger or where you felt your anger, but for me, I could feel it sitting on my throat as if there's something that's just been placed there and it could not move. I couldn't make it go away. It would just sit there just by thinking about the people, just by looking at them, just by them doing anything that was not right or that was not good in my sight or that was the opposite of what I said. It would just build and build and build. And then of course I developed a resting face. So as we all know, sometimes that resting face is based off of what's happening inside of you, right? The thoughts that are going through your mind and so forth. And luckily I didn't have the worst thoughts, but I just had this, like, it was really, really, really bad. Really, really bad. And everybody could tell that I was angry, but nobody did anything to change it, right? To change their behavior, to change the way they were operating. They were just going by as if nothing was going on. They just thought something was wrong with me. Like, what is wrong with you? Why are you so angry? And here's the kicker. I never spoke about it. I never told anybody what was wrong. I never told anybody why what they were doing was upsetting me, was creating anger in me, why I was allowing that to make me angry. Years and years and years passed and new behaviors from others would develop, yet I would carry on this anger, and now I'm building on top of what I've already remembered about them, of what has already happened in the past is just now being pushed down into my system, and these new forms of behaviors that they're embodying are creating newer levels of anger inside of me. But again, it was all inside of just me. It was all me. It was deeply, deeply horrifying for me because I could think to myself, man, I just want to be as happy. When I laugh, and I'm a laughaholic, I always say that. I am somebody who could be easily made to laugh. So even the people who would make me so angry, if they said or did something that could just make me laugh, I would laugh so hard. And I could feel the release. But immediately after, I would go back into that anger. Sometimes I would tell myself that, well, later on I started to realize that this laughter that I was getting was some sort of way God was kind of trying to release it from me, release the anger from me. It was God's way of making me see that happiness exists and joy is there and just goodness exists. And every time I laughed, it literally made my day. It made me feel so good because every part of me was feeling that laughter. But I would always go back to being angry when I saw what I saw, when I was around the people that would trigger that emotion out of me. And because I held grudges over them, it was easier to just be angry. It was just so easy because the grudge is really the thing that, it's sort of like, what is it? I don't know the definition of it. I wish I knew the definition of it, but it's just holding on to it, right? You just hold on to it so much longer. And when you have a grudge over somebody, that even if you're happy with them in one moment, you know that these people are, you've identified them as bad people, right? So regardless, it's like, okay, these people, we don't like them for this reason. They're the kind that always do this. And so you start saying they always do that. They always do this. You're affirming to yourself that this is what they will always do. and therefore you will always get that anger. And that's the lifestyle that I lived, an angry life. I was so angry, so full of grudge, so full of just heaviness in my spirit, in my body. And it was wild because I would pray over this feeling, because again, when I laughed, it felt incredible. It felt like life is good, everything is good, nothing on earth is bad. Even though I was experiencing things in life, just laughing just felt so good, and I enjoyed having that experience of laughter. So I would pray to always have that moment, those types of moments in my life, but it was so difficult. I could never get out of that anger. I'm like, what is happening? Why can't I just get out of it? I truly believe that that God can easily just remove that thing because I believe in God. And so it baffled me that why on earth was this not going away? Why was it not going away? And if I prayed for that moment and I'm like, oh yes, I'm happy, immediately I would see the other person and suddenly I'll be triggered all over again, get right back into that angry mode and just not want to talk to these people, not want to smile, not want to say hello. I couldn't even say hello in the mornings. I couldn't. It was so difficult for me. And the worst part, it sort of felt comforting to be angry. That's scary. But it felt comforting to feel that anger. Because to me, I felt that if I was angry and they saw the anger, they would immediately change. They would be the type of people that I'm imagining them to be. They would behave the way that they're supposed to behave. Right? All of this was them. It was them. They were the problem. So I carried this anger for a long time. So what does this portion mean for you? It means that you are more than likely looking at somebody or looking at the things that are creating that anger in you, or that you are creating that anger because of those things, because you're so focused on what those things are doing. Your mind is focused on them. So you're going to stay there because that's what you're going to see. You've created in your mind that this is how you react when they do that. And that's what I was doing. I would say that it's going to make me angry. Watch, they're going to make me angry they're going to make me angry when they do this. Why are you looking at me? Why are you not closing a cabinet? Why are you doing this and that? Why are you not taking care of the thing you're supposed to take care of? Like, my focus was on why they were what they were doing. And so I was so angry. They were not focused on me. So they were happy. Do you see how different that is? It's so different. But anyway, with all the prayers that I was doing, the anger was not going away. It would not leave. It drove me mad because I'm like, why in the world? What's wrong with me? Why can't this thing leave me? And so there was a season, as time went on, the grudges built, the anger built, my feelings about certain people just kept growing into deeper anger. And as time flew, there was a season in my life where things were not going great in my life. Like, just everything was just bad, right? It spiraled to the bottom and I had no idea what to do. And a relative of mine told me about a fast, a 21-day fast. And it was the beginning of the year. I remember it quite well. It was the beginning of the year, and I told myself, you know what? I should just fast. I should try this 21-day fast. And so I decided that, okay, let me try this. I fasted multiple times in my life. It's a part of my life actually to fast, but I do it differently. And so again, it's a little bit wild to even say that, oh, I'm Christian, and then all I'm doing is being angry. Make that make sense, right? That did not make sense. It did not align with me, which is why I always prayed for it to go away, because it did not align with what I identified with. And it drove me crazy, and I felt like, this is sad. This is really sad. This is awful, and this is just disgusting, honestly, for me. And so anyways, I took on the fast, and when I did the fast, there were scriptures that I would read that poked me. They would literally poke at me, and I should have written them down, but there was one in particular where it says, I will probably put it down at the bottom, but if you do not forgive, you will not be forgiven. And that pierced me. That pierced me so hard, because I was asking for forgiveness during my fast. I wanted to be forgiven because I'm not perfect. I mess up. I do things bad. Even though I see others and I'm like, it drives me wild. I messed up. I was messed up myself, right? And I needed forgiveness. But seeing that it stated that if you do not forgive, you won't be forgiven, that was the highlight of my whole life. That is when transformation happened in my life. Because I needed to be forgiven. I needed to forgive. Like, those two were high desires in my life. I just did not know how to release anger. I needed to be forgiven, and I needed to release the anger. Those were two highlights in my life that I wanted the most. And because I couldn't get rid of this anger, that scripture opened up my eyes to see that, whoa, in order for me to be free from the inside, I had to forgive. So I had to release the anger through forgiveness. And I did a video similar to this before, but that was the biggest aha moment in my anger. From that moment, like, I released so much. I started to cry. I started to just internally forgive everyone I was angry with. And I realized that I was just being angry for no reason. And what I also realized was that everyone I was angry at had zero idea that I was angry specifically at them for specific reasons. They just thought I was naturally angry because I was always an angry girl. I told you. When somebody wanted to share my food, it made me angry. And then there was an instant in my life where, after I had done that fast, I had to learn how to share. And that's also another story, but I could share it right now. And that also set me free, because I had to share. I received information about being able to share, and that set me free. So being able to forgive others healed my spirit. It healed my heart. And when I forgave them, I kid you not, anytime I saw those people, heard their names, thought about them, that anger was no longer there. It was not there because I no longer was in unforgiveness. And I knew that God forgave me. And if He forgave me, then I naturally had already forgiven the other people that I see. Right? That I can see and hang around with and be around and all that jazz. These are actual people in my life. And so when I forgave them, I was free. I was set free. So what this means for you as well is that perhaps you're not in the spirit of forgiving. Perhaps you're not in the spirit of praying or fasting. But I guarantee you, if you forgive them, you will be free. You will feel a different energy towards them. You will feel more loving towards them. I love the people that I used to be angry with. Am I saying that you'll never be angry? No. You'll still be angry. And there's a time and place for all of our emotions. And it's necessary at times to be angry. If you're in danger, you better be angry. Because that's how you're going to fight to get out of that danger. If you're going and dealing through circumstances, you need to be angry at those circumstances. Why? Because if you get angry, you will want to get out of that situation. You will hate that situation so much that you have to get out of it. But if you kind of lay back and just simmer into those problems and just relax and let them go, you'll live in those moments. You will live in situations that you should not be living in, right? If things are going down for you, you should not be excited about that downfall. You want to get out of that downfall. You get so angry that why in the world are you in that downfall? There's no reason for you to be in that downfall. So it's time to get out of that downfall. It's time to get out of that situation. So when you get angry at those bad things, you get out of them. It allows you to get out of them. That's a different story, right? That's a different story. But if you're just getting angry because of things, of what people did to you, and you're holding on to that anger, that's going to keep you there, right? It's going to keep you there because you're identifying those people as your source of anger, right? You're seeing them as the cause for you, for your anger. But if you forgive them, you will be free because 99.9% they don't even know that they're triggering you. They don't even know what they're doing to ignite anger in you. Most of the times people are living their lives minding their business. And it's you. You have to look at yourself. You have to look at what's going on with me. What is it? What can I do to change the situation? Not what can they do. Not what are they doing that is going to shift. They're probably going to always do that. But you could change that in your life because it is your joy, your happiness, your peace that you want. And it is you who's going to get it if you bring that into your life. If you seek out that forgiveness, if you seek out happiness, if you seek out joy and peace, right? Because honestly, it's not fun to live in that life. So here are some tips on how to forgive, right? Here are some tips that I have learned that have helped me to, one, manage anger, resolve conflict, and be able to forgive easily so that I can live my best life. Because an angry life is not a good life. It's not. Anger creates illnesses, right? It creates a resting face. It creates deformation, right? It creates like unhappiness. And you don't want that. You don't want that, right? You don't. So let's say you are somebody who knows somebody that's triggering you, that you feel is triggering you. If this person is an acquaintance that you know you can communicate with, have a table talk. Ask if you could have a conversation with them to talk about the situation. That is something I learned from that Will Smith thing that they used to do. That is a game changer in my life today. Having a table talk will just help you to resolve problems. But you do that in a way where you start off by asking the other person if there's anything they would like to share, because you're the one having the issue. So you want to make sure that they know. And then you state how you're feeling, and then you state how you care about the other person, and you state the thing that is probably causing this anger in you, right? Not attacking them, but attacking the thing that is causing that problem. And then you try to figure out what you both can do to create a better environment for the both of you in those situations, right? Another way is, yes, forgiving. Like literally just saying, I forgive you. You don't have to speak to these people to tell them you forgive them, because like I mentioned, chances are they don't even know that they're upsetting you. So you could forgive them internally, and then try to figure out what you can do to make sure that what they do does not affect you. So you're working on yourself to figure out what you can do to make sure that you don't get angry again. Right? That's important. Those are actually I think the only two ways that I use in terms of being set free from anger and overcoming anger, so that it does not take over you, because it took over my life for over a decade. That was so depressing and sad, and I never want to be there ever again. So yes, I can get mad every now and then, I'll be upset, but it never lasts for more than probably an hour, or the longest is probably 3 hours if I'm upset. But I'm easily forgiving now because I know that it's me that's having the problem. It's me that's being triggered. So what is it about me that needs to change? So that's the same with you. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Literally, that's crazy, right? But that's so true. Check in with yourself and then do those 2 steps. I guarantee you're going to see a tremendous difference in your life. I do want to add that when you do ask for forgiveness, when you forgive the other person, it's imperative when you do it internally within yourself that you actually do forgive them and that you're sincere about that. Because when you really want to forgive them, that will change your life. That will change your life. And if you're a believer, then you know as well. Check into that scripture, because it's so wild. Like wanting God to forgive you, and then you don't want to forgive the person that you actually see. It's insane, right? It's insane. So just check that out. But I am telling you, that will change your life. You will overcome anger. You will not be the same that you were. It will take time and it will take practice sometimes, but you will see a tremendous shift in how you operate, in how you see others, and how you are living your life. So I know this was so long, but I hope that helped you. I hope that gave you some sort of insight or reminded you of something, because I know that you want to live a wonderful, happy, joyous life, and it's available for you. 1000%. It's available for you. You just have to want it enough to do what's necessary to get that life, right? All right, my friends, thank you so much for watching. I'm so happy. I'm so happy because sharing that story, it's huge for me. It's huge for me because it's a big breakthrough in my life. And you too can have that same breakthrough. It's awaiting you. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you have not yet, and like this video, share it with somebody who you know might need it. And yeah, let's live a more freeing, relaxed, and happy life. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.